to have a little bit of a conversation around the importance of legacy and impact for conferences, and how you can sort of look at the positive impact to balance out what could potentially be a bit, a negative carbon footprint for the event. This is something that we at ExCeL have been doing over the last few years, in particular since the pandemic. We've worked with a number of our association clients to help understand their impact initiatives and how we can support them within our local stakeholder network. And as an outcome of that, we're actually in the process of creating our own toolkit and stakeholder network so that we can actually really help our organisers work within our local community. We want to try and understand your missions and aims and how they can then tie in with what we're doing from ExCeL's EDI point of view, and also more importantly, what our local community really needs from us and from our events. So Sanj, in the first instance, could you just give me a little bit of an overview of Elrig and what your goals and missions are?
Elrig is a scientific conference organiser. That's what we do. We organise conferences for the scientific world, which is particularly the life science industry, particularly the industrial life science community, which is the pharma biotechs. And Elrig has been going for almost 25 years now, and we have around about 12 events per year, but the biggest event happens between here in London ExCeL and also the ACC in Liverpool as well, where we have over 2,000 delegates coming in. There's almost 150 booths, and it's a big event. It is the biggest drug discovery event in Europe, actually. One of the unique things about Elrig is that we are a free-to-attend event. You can come to one of our events and you can listen to really high-quality science, but you don't have to pay a ticket to get in. And the reason we do that is accessibility, and we're very passionate about that. One of our core values is accessibility. We want our meetings to be accessible to all. So by, first of all, providing free to attend events, so there's no ticketing, that takes away one barrier. Secondly, by holding them in commercial centres like London. ExCeL is absolutely superbly located in that respect, with the Elizabeth line now connecting it. That takes away other accessibility issues as well. So we're very passionate about inviting everybody into our events so that they can learn about the latest in science. We even feed them for free as well, Samantha, as you well know. So we want all. We don't want our events to be exclusive. We want them for all age ranges to come to our events. So the values you've already said about ExCeL are actually very aligned to what we do in Elrig.
We've talked about that sort of accessibility, everyone, inclusivity, etc. How is that reflected in your conference programme and speakers, etc.? I know we've talked about that a little bit as well.
Yeah, so we take EDI very passionately. We did realise that at one point the speakers who came to Elrig were representative, perhaps not of the audience that was sat there. They were sat in front of them listening to them. So we worked quite hard to change the lineup of the speakers. What we mandated to people who would speak at Elrig is that we were looking for speaker panels that were gender balanced, so 50-50 male-female. It wasn't like that before. It was very, very male predominant. But we also wanted to ensure that we were ethnically diverse. So we measured our audience, and we realised that the audience that we have is about 35% non-white. So we mandate that the speakers are also 35% non-white. And we've done very well with that. The other measurement that we did was that we found that a third of our audience are early career professionals. So again, we wanted them represented on the stage. So we mandate that a third of the speakers are early career professionals. Now that sounds quite hard. How can you maintain the science quality as well as meet your EDI objectives? Actually, it works beautifully. We've become just more diverse. Because we're more diverse in actually who now stands up and talks, we actually have more diverse audience, and that was very visible at our last meeting last year. We measured the metrics, and we were getting a much more diverse audience than we expected. So we did really well on that.
And I presume as you're doing that, actually, you're generating, it's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Correct. Because the more they see themselves up there, the more someone thinks, actually, I can be that person, and therefore the quality is raised. So obviously we hosted Drug Discovery for the first time in 2018. What were your drivers in choosing ExCeL London as the venue for your conference?
That's a loaded question, Samantha, because you were very integral in ensuring that we could come to ExCeL. We got to a point in 2018, remember this is all pre-pandemic, so it was a different world, where we were growing dramatically and we felt that we needed a London-based event, and it was too big for the other offerings that were available at the time. And I remember coming to you, Samantha, and having our first negotiation discussion, and you opened the doors to us. You made it affordable that we could come in. Having it in London has cemented us on the world stage in terms of conferences that you should attend. However, let's be fair, Samantha, a lot of conferences do come to London. Our community is not just in London. In fact, the industrial life science community, if you go to gov.uk, the measurements are that the biggest life science industrial community is here in the southeast of England, but then the next biggest area of employment for that community is actually the northwest of England, i.e. the Liverpool area. So that made perfect sense for us to cycle the meeting between the two venues in the years that have happened, and you know we've done that.
Yeah, right. So we've talked a little bit about your conference, and it all sounds really, really interesting. Can you tell me a little bit more about the specific legacy and impact projects that you're looking at bringing into Drug Discovery 2024, and how ExCeL is helping support you in those?
I mean, we're a science-based conference, and we have a lot of science on the stage, which is quite in depth. It's academic. It's very deep. But we also have this huge exhibition where we have suppliers who provide the latest technologies to enable drug discovery come to our meeting. So you end up with an exhibition hall that's full of all these whiz-bang technologies, moving parts, and it's all very interesting. So that actually means that we can leave a legacy, because we can actually start to bring different generations into the drug discovery community. We start with them very young. Big adventures in tiny lab coats. That is an Elrig initiative where we invite school children to come into the exhibition hall to look at the whiz-bang amazing technologies happening, with the hope that they will actually think about STEM as a career. And Samantha, you know that we're working with you on that to actually invite schools in the area to come in. And they can come in freely. Actually, Elrig will subsidise them to come in. We'll, of course, provide them lunch, but even we'll support them by hiring the buses for them to come in as well. So Elrig puts part of its earnings aside for exactly that purpose. The next generation are the A-level students, that sort of age group. They can come in and they can listen to more of the talks, they can interact much more with some of the speakers and such like. So we organise that as well. We're hoping to leave a legacy like that. We're hoping to inspire the next generation. Well,
that all sounds absolutely amazing, and we're really looking forward to working with you on this later this year, and seeing the children as they come into the venue and how they can really benefit from this event. As I think we've talked about, and some of you may know, within the ABPCO community, ExCeL London is situated in the borough of Newham, which is a very deprived and very diverse area. So actually, us helping school children have the opportunity to see something they wouldn't normally get to see is amazing. And I think for anyone else, obviously, who wants to find out a little bit more about what we can do, we can help give some insight in what other things you can think about when it comes to legacy, accessibility, sustainability, etc. These are all areas that we are working very closely with our organisers on, and hopefully we can share that with some of you in a bit more detail in due course. Sanj, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. And if anyone wants to find out a little bit more about what Elrig are doing, what ExCeL is doing, please feel free to reach out to ABPCO, and we're happy to talk it through with you in a bit more detail. So thank you again so much for your time.